Finishing strong has been an important motto for the Phillies here in the month of September. They've won the first 2 games against the Miami Marlins in this series, and tonight they go for the sweep within 9 games of 500 at 71 and 80. And so far, the Phillies against the Miami Marlins recently have been very successful. It's a 7-game winning streak. They've hit well. They've hit 11 home runs during those 7 games. The starters have done an excellent job with a 1.56 earned run average. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy along with Chris Wheeler. Now, the starting pitching tonight has been turned over a little bit because Zach Miner will make the start. We'll see how far he'll go. Ryan Sandberg said today that it's a cool night. He's kind of stretched out, so they'll just let the game kind of dictate it. And that's really what Ryan Sandberg has done during his tenure as the interim manager. He has been letting the games dictate the things he's done.
Absolutely, Tom. He's down there on kind of a recon as he went into the manager's office to find out about these players. He knew them a little bit because he had been here all year. But this is what's happened so far with an 18-13 record. And the one-loss record, he can be 13-18. I don't think that really mattered. It was some other things they were looking for. We were kidding him the other day about that win that Cliff Lee had that gave him an easy win because he certainly hasn't had many of those. A lot of one-run wins, a lot of come-from-behind stuff. He's been around here for a while managing this baseball team. A little while ago, he sat down with our Greg Murphy and talked about what it's been like.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Here with Ryan Sandberg. And Ryan, we're looking big picture today. And, 31 games into the interim manager for you. You seem like a guy that really enjoys the process of the manager's position. First of all, is that a fair statement? And if so, what is it about the day-to-day process of being the manager that you enjoy so much?
I do like the day-to-day work. I do like organizing the day. I like to pay attention on what the players need to work on and have them work as a group on the field, get them out of the locker room, and get some quality work done. And so we do that pregame, and we do different things on a daily basis, utilizing the home field early when we can. And to be out there with them, that's a fun part of the game for me. After that, I think when you prepare, then I ask the players to go out and be prepared, but then go out and play the game and have fun and let the instincts take over and let the preparation take over, and like I said, enjoy the game.
Obviously winning is a big part of it, but also at this point of the season, evaluation has been a big part of it for you as well and your staff. How do you think the players have taken to the idea? Because so many different lineups, guys being asked to do different things on different nights. How have they taken to that, and how have you seen them react to that?
The guys basically come in and check the lineup and see who's playing, and what I think is it creates a team atmosphere, a team attitude, and it does give the players a chance to show what they can do. And when the lineup is made, it's a lineup it's made to win the game, but also let guys have a chance to perform and to play. And I think more guys feel a part of the team and stay sharp if they're in the lineup one day and get 4 at bats and then the next time they're asked to do something, whether it's a pitch hit or something, they stay a little bit sharper that way. So I think it rubs off on everybody. It also gives guys a little blow this time of year, considering where we're at in the season and where we are in the standings. So as far as evaluation and getting everybody involved in the game and the way that it's been, we've won games, so everybody takes part in that. So it feels good and rubs off on everybody.
Well, they certainly have been playing pretty good baseball here in September. We should say happy birthday to Ryan Sandberg.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, celebrating today.
Big 54.
Hopefully they can celebrate with a win. We appreciate your time, Ryan.
Man.
Guys, back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. Yep, 54 years young is Ryan Sandberg tonight. And for his birthday, he'll get a chance to watch Zach Miner making his 3rd start, or 4th start, I should say. And Nate Eovaldi will make his 16th for the Miami Marlins. The lineups and first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota's nationwide clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies. By Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experience good banking? And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. here in Philadelphia. Phillies still have 3 games down in South Florida that they'll play next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Let's take a look at the Marlins starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. It's Solano, Lucas, and Yelich, followed by Giancarlo Stanton, Ruggiano, and Logan Morrison. In the bottom third of Echeverria, Mathis, and Evaldi. And they will face Phillies right-hander Zach Miner, who's making his first major league start since August of 2009 when he was with the Detroit Tigers. He'll go to work tonight. They're thinking anywhere between 50 and 60 pitches. On a cool night, maybe he can extend himself a little bit more. First pitch of the night is a little high, and we're underway.
Right, they're really not sure what they're going to get here tonight. He's a relief pitcher who has been a starting pitcher, but working out of the bullpen with the Phillies. You see what he's done here so far out of the pen since he came up from Scranton-Wilkes-Barre. Or Scranton-Wilkes-Barre, from Lehigh Valley. Carlos doesn't see this.
Well, fortunately, it's back near the Diamond Club. No, it did land onto the field. He didn't see it the whole time.
Yeah, that's a shame because that thing was catchable and definitely was going to be an out.
It looked as if it was going to land in the Diamond Club, but it did spin back, as most of those pop-ups do.
Here's our Budweiser scouting report on Zach Miner. And he has 35 career minor league starts. As Tom said, he's had those starts with the Detroit Tigers and of course at Lehigh Valley also.
Yeah, 4 years with the Tigers. He made 35 starts. He appeared in 157 games. Former 4th-round pick of the Braves. And that ball is off the facing of the Marlins dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Solano.
They feel good about they have enough arms in the bullpen tonight. Ryan Sandberg said before the game they're okay out there. And the reason is the off day tomorrow. That really helps.
He even said that he thought Papelbon could pitch tonight because of the off day tomorrow. Foul ball, and it remains 1-2.
Miner out there pitching out of the windup too. That always looks different when a reliever's pitching out of the stretch so much, goes out there and has an outing like this, and then they go back to pitching out of the windup again. Sometimes when you bring a guy out of the bullpen, they're so used to it, they pitch out of the stretch, even though there's nobody on base.
Ground ball to shortstop. Ball's hit pretty well. Rollins has time. 1 away.
Well, it's time now for our Nissan Keys to tonight's ball game. Tom mentioned it's a nice, cool night here, and it will be Zach Miner and the bullpen tonight. And Nathan Evaldi, his last start threw 76% fastballs. So scouting this guy, and the Phillies have seen him before, you know you're going to go up there and you're going to look for fastballs to hit.
They say that his fastball is a little harder than when the Phillies last saw him, that it's up to 96 miles an hour, 97 miles an hour.
He's averaging 96, and the whole thing is that's fine, but if it's down the middle, you can hit it.
Ed Lucas takes strike 1. It's no balls and 1 strike to Lucas, who's 4 for 9 in this series. He's had a good month of September for the Marlins. Now that pitch a little low, 1-1. Lucas with a couple home runs in the big leagues. And he fouls it back. Should say 3 home runs. That was a changeup that was pulled foul. It remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. A reminder from Budweiser, great times are waiting. Designated driver. One ball, 2 strikes to Ed Lucas. And he throws a slider outside, 2-2. Miner's first opportunity to start as a big league pitcher came in 2006 with the Tigers. He started 16 games. He went 7-6 overall with an ERA of 4.84. That's popped up foul. It'll be out of play. And it remains 2-2. Nice catch. Miner has been with the Braves, the Tigers, the Royals, and the Phillies. He's been with the Tigers twice during his career. Missed one full season because of Tommy John surgery at the end of the 2009 campaign. Missed 2010.
It's from the Jupiter, Florida area, and played amateur baseball with former Philly and now current Marlins telecaster Tommy Hutton. Son Derek. They played a lot of baseball together as kids. So Hut's known Minor since he was just a young guy. And one of those things where it's really nice to see somebody who played against your son in the big leagues.
Another chopper to shortstop, and Rollins has a little more time with Lucas running. Same result, 2 outs. Also 13 pitches so far after that 8-pitch at bat by Lucas. And that'll bring Christian Yelich to the plate.
Well, the more they can do that tonight, the more that they'll get into the bullpen tonight and make them use a lot of pitchers, or they keep fouling balls off this way. Birthday boy. How can he be 54? You got to be kidding me.
Goes by fast, Wheels.
He was just a kid hanging around here. It just seems like yesterday.
That's low. 2 balls and no strikes. Yelich is 3 for 8 so far in the series with a run scored and 3 strikeouts. Those 3 strikeouts came against Cliff Lee. Had a play, 2-1.
One of 3 straight guys that got 2 out hits last night off Papelbon to make that game a lot more interesting than it needed to be. And his was really impressive. Hit an 0-2 split to left. Lucas was really good too because he had a pitch away from him to right field with 2 strikes.
Speed pitch, 2-2.
You got him to shake, and talk about that. A lot of times when catchers do that, they want him to shake to think, the hitter to think they're going to get something off speed, and then they'll come fastball. In that case, he threw him changeup.
Thought that may have come back. It was pretty close. He was walking off the mound thinking he had him struck out, but instead it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
A little backdoor breaking ball action there.
It's not a bad idea.
Sure.
And ball 4. So Yelich is aboard with a 2-out walk, and that'll bring Stanton to the plate. Giancarlo Stanton is 2 for 7 in the series. He has struck out 4 times. Overall numbers, 22 home runs. At 53 runs batted in. High, so 3-0. Ruggiano's the on-deck batter. Let's see if Stan gets a green light here. You would think he would.
Amen to that.
And he takes outside ball 4. So it's back-to-back walks for Minor. So 2 on with 2 outs here in the first. And it'll bring Ruggiano to the plate. They got the first 2 batters on 13 pitches, but now 10 pitches to the last 2 result in a couple of walks. Had a quick conversation with Ruiz to square up the signs.
Right, they get a runner to second for the first time, so they change the signs. They want to make sure they're on the same page.
And Ruggiano takes a hack at the first pitch. It knocks Ruiz's mask off, and it's 0-1. And Angel Hernandez will take a walk out to the mound and give the ball to Minor. Oof. That ball blasted that mask.
What do you say? The beating they take and what that must feel like.
Angel just asked him if he was okay, and he nodded yes. Boy, that ball really sailed inside. It's 2-1. It was a changeup.
Yeah, you see it. You see him choke it there, and it just, Tom said, sails inside. He lost command of it, total control of it.
I mentioned that he's supposed to pitch between 50 and 60 pitches tonight, and he's already at 26 here in the first.
Yeah, this one isn't going the way they wanted it to, so they really hope to get some innings out of him. But all of a sudden, with 2 outs and nobody on base, walk, now 3-1.
I figure Ruggiano's thinking fastball here.
And he likes
3 balls and 1 strike.
Right, and he really likes to hit fastballs.
And he hits it foul off to the right. And out of play. Runners go. Pitch is pulled foul. And a boy, Bill. That's right. If at first you don't succeed, Bill, try again. That'll build his confidence up, Wheels.
And that one had a nice pace
Yes,
to
it
it coming
did.
over there.
Runners go again, and the pitch pulled foul again. Now this one he'd let go by.
Yeah, get out of the way of those. When they're hit like that, especially on the pull side. Let a fan have that.
I think he said that was a little too far out of his reach. 8th pitch of this at bat coming. Runners go back. They'll take off again with this one coming from Zach Minor. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Fouls it off again. This is what we're talking about with Bill right there. He had it, and no.
It's a competitor. Nothing like a cameraman who competes.
He's such a good
Kinda
sport.
like that.
Runners go again, and the pitch is hit foul again, off to the right and out of play.
He used up his pitch quota in the first inning.
He may get pretty close to it.
Yeah. You know, they had a bullpen progression in mind tonight, and they may have to change it around a little bit.
Well, as you said, though, they do have a lot of arms available out there, not only because guys haven't worked, but also because of the expanded rosters.
Right.
Breaking ball swung on and missed. He throws a high slider, and Ruggiano can't catch up. No runs, no hits. 2 men left, couple walks, and a whole host of pitches for Zach Minor. But he gets through the first without allowing a run. Right pitch at right time. Marlins nothing. The Phillies coming up. take a look at the rest of the Phillies lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Rollins, Utley, and Ruiz follow Hernandez, then Dominic Brown, Darren Ruff, and Cody Ashe. Roger Bernardino, the right fielder, bats 8th, and batting 9th and pitching is Zach Miner. And they will face right-hander Nate Eovaldi. We'll tell you about him in just a little bit. We will let you know he's a 6'2", I should say, 23-year-old from Alvin, Texas. And those are his numbers.
Born in Houston, he said lives in Alvin, and that's where Nolan Ryan's from.
Cesar Hernandez has had himself a very good month of September. See the scouting report brought to you by Budweiser on Eovaldi.
Yeah, he can get up to 99 according to the scouting report on him, and averages around 96. And we mentioned the high percentage of fastballs that he throws, and he'll throw slider and curveball and changeup almost non-existent, not a part of his repertoire.
And that one's looped toward left field. It is a foul ball.
Phillies have had real good luck with him. They faced him 4 times last year, twice with the Dodgers, twice with the Marlins, beat him all 4 times.
Yeah, 0-4 with an ERA of 5.85 against the Phils. He's averaging just 5 innings per outing against the Phillies, and he's allowed 28 hits.
Missed a turn with a sore back, some back spasms, and they felt he's ready to go tonight.
Swing and a miss, and one away. So he gets Hernandez on a fastball.
Well, he's thrown 96. That one they say is 97. So that's about what you expect from him. He's going to come after you with gas, and well, that one's down too. That's a real good spot for a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. That's hard to hit. You don't see much of it.
Here's Jimmy Rollins. Rollins 5 for 8 in this series against the Marlins. 3 for 9 against Eovaldi with a home run, and he was right on that fastball. It's 0-1.
That's the only way you can hit a guy that throws this hard. If he'll throw it down the middle, but he has to get it up a little bit, and that's what they have to hope happen. That's what they've done with him before.
Inside, 1-1. Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Claire Littell of Philadelphia. Phillies hit a home run at tonight's ball game, then Claire will win $100.
Last time out with all those fastballs, threw 11% curveballs, 11% sliders.
Well, there's back-to-back curveballs there.
And 1.39% changeups. He just doesn't throw it much.
So I guess that's 2?
Not quite. Almost 2. Yeah.
There's a base hit for Rollins.
1.5.
Rollins takes a big turn around first.
And that's what a guy like Jimmy Rollins can do with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball when you get it down and into him a little bit. See where it is? That has been his zone for years, where he's gotten so many big hits when he gets fastball down in the zone like that.
Top 4 hitters in the Phillies lineup in September have been on a torrid pace, including Utley, who's hitting .367 in September with 14 runs batted in. In fact, Ruiz and Utley both with 14 runs batted in here in the month. Ball 1. Fastball, and it's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Utley. Phillies during this month of September have hit .281 as a team, about 40 points higher than what they've hit for the year. They've averaged about 4.5 runs per game during the month of September, and their on base percentage has been good too, .351. Steve Henderson and Wally Joyner happy.
Well, those two guys work so hard. They're always down the cage. They're always available for the players. Talk to them, work with them. They've done a tremendous job here this year. They're really two hard-working coaches.
In the dirt, 2-1.
Chase Utley's hit a couple of bombs here the last couple games. Here's the one last night, a breaking ball. Bam, right off the sign out there in right center field. The night before he did it off the Budweiser sign. They're both long ones. The stadium's gotten away of both of them, or they'd have gone further.
And Utley hits one out toward left field. Yelich is there. Well, he's taking some really good swings.
Good swing. Especially a guy throwing this hard, and that one was away a little bit. He just used that little swing, short swing, dropped the head on it, hit a line drive. They had him positioned perfectly. It's one of those, you can't do much about it, but it's away a little bit, just drops the head down on it. Actually, it was down the middle. And with that velocity, he's a little bit defensive on that, and he hits it the other way, but hard.
Carlos Ruiz overall hitting .287 with 5 home runs, 1 for 9 in the series with 2 RBIs. Mentioned he has the 14 RBIs here in September. He hasn't homered in September, but he really hasn't needed to because he's been compiling a lot of doubles and certainly a lot of RBIs.
That's a good hitter when you get a lot of doubles.
Pulls that one toward the hole. Echeverria has it, flips to second, and gets Rollins by a step or two. So the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We've played 1, and we go to the second. By going to Phillies.com, all fans coming to Citizens Bank Park on Sunday will receive the 2014 schedule magnet. Plenty of prizes and surprises, some great giveaways, all that and much more. Phillies and the Mets this weekend. They wrap up the home schedule. Zach Minor, a hefty pitch total in the first inning. We'll go to work against Logan Morrison, Adeiny Echeverria, and Jeff Mathis.
15 foul balls in the first inning out of 33 pitches. I don't run that count up.
Outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Zach made 12 starts this year at Lehigh Valley. He was 5-6 overall with a 3.90 earned run average. Throws a changeup. It's 2-1. If I recall correctly, I think he made 1 start in spring training. You know, when the Phillies had some of those split squad days, he would be a starter for one of the teams. Inside. A liner to left, right at Dominic Brown, 1 away. And that'll bring Echeverria to the plate. Well, Zach Miner is pitching tonight for Kyle Kendrick. And for more on KK and what he found out today, let's turn it over to Murph. Murph?
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. Well, the news is good on KK. We told you yesterday that he got an MRI on a shoulder that has been bothering him, and he really just wanted to find out some answers. Well, he got those answers today. Just some minor tendonitis in that shoulder. We're told not something to really worry about. Now, he is going to go get a second opinion up in New York on Thursday, and as long as that comes back with similar results, he expects to be able to start playing catch on Friday. And Kyle said he hopes to make his final 2 starts of the season. That would be next Tuesday in Miami would be his next start. Now, Ryan Sandberg stopped short of saying that he would make that start. Still waiting for some more information. But really, bottom line was it was good news. Kyle was a little bit concerned about the feeling he was feeling in that shoulder. And as a pitcher, that's your livelihood. Certainly you can understand that. But the news was good today. Just some minor fraying, they said, and some wear and tear that actually looked pretty good for a pitcher of his age. So, Kyle, I was kind of breathing a sigh of relief this afternoon.
Well, it is good news, as that ball is pulled to the left side, backhanded by Rollins, sweeping throw, not in time. Ruff tried to do a little cheating over there at first base, but it looked like Echeverria had beaten the throw.
It's a great play by Jimmy Rollins and Ruff on the other end, Tom, as you said. And the only thing that happened on that is that guy just beat it. That's an average runner. He's out at first base. Watch Jimmy Quick release him here, too, with that flip. Right off his back foot, flip everything he could on it. Just beats it.
Boy, that was really close.
Really close. Just a normal runner. And he's got him on another spectacular play.
It looked like it was bang, bang. First pitch is outside. It's 1 ball, no strikes to Mathis.
Trying to throw that changeup behind in the count. It was effective on Morrison to lead off this inning. There he goes, a changeup 1-0 and missed with it.
Broke his bat, popped it up. Ashe comes charging down the line. And there are 2 outs, and the pitcher's coming up. Vivaldi is 2 for 26 this year with 15 strikeouts. throw him a slider. It's 0-1. Ground ball to second, and Chase Utley waits on it. Side is retired, so an easier inning for Zach Miner. No runs, an infield hit, 1 man left. We've completed 1.5. We come back for the bottom of the second. Dominic Brown will lead it off. Mini iPad and iPad. Build your stadium and make the decisions to guide your team to the World Series. Download MLB Ballpark Empire free today. Data and usage rates may apply. Bottom of the second inning. It's ladies' night here at the ballpark. Dominic Brown will lead it off. It'll be Dominic Brown, Darren Ruff, and Cody Ashe. Zach Miner has gotten through 2. Shaking his head, obviously not too pleased with the way he has pitched so far tonight, although he has not allowed a run. Battled nicely in the last inning.
Yeah, just he knows that the way it's going right now, he's not going to be able to give him a whole lot of innings, and that's certainly what he went out there to do tonight, go 4 or 5 innings. Still could happen, but with all the foul balls that they've accumulated early, his pitch count's gotten pretty high.
Brown 1 for 7 so far in the series, and the first pitch from Evaldi is taken for a strike. He threw him a breaking ball.
Tommy's about due to pop one. It's been a while. When he was swinging the bat well, he was wearing out that area in right center field on fastballs. Really, timing is way off on off-speed stuff right now. One up to him, and you throw that fastball up there as hard as he throws it. You swing at it, you're going to be out. He worked himself into a 3-2 fastball count, you would think. They went up, then they just went in with one. Now what Mathis going to put down? Oh, they're going to go breaking ball. 3-2 breaking ball.
And he pops it up. Shallow center. And Solano puts it away. Yeah, there's one out.
That had to be a little surprising.
Also shows the confidence Mathis has in that pitch, that he would throw a 3-2.
You wonder why? Because he hardly ever throws it. I guess he just figured Brown is such a fastball hitter that they weren't going to throw him one there, even it's only the second inning, a scoreless game.
You know, it's 20 pitches so far for Eovaldi. Of those 20, he's thrown 5 curves, and there's another one.
They're saying on the nights that he gets his breaking ball over, he's really tough. They just overthrew that fastball. And you can see why, because if you can't sit on that 97, 98, and you have to worry about something else, he can be really tough.
Talking to Major League Scoreboard, the Rangers are leading the Rays 2-0. That game is in the top of the second inning. Leonis Martin, I should say, has a couple RBIs for the Rangers. Swing and a miss, and Ruff is struck out. Second strikeout for Eovaldi. And Cody Ash is coming up. Be the first with breaking news in Philly sports. Get Philly sports when you're on the go. Delivered right to your smartphone. Download the free CSN Sports app today. Little guy enjoying a night at the ballpark with mom and dad. And Mickey Mouse. As she takes low, 1-0. Ashley has reached base safely in 19 of 22 games. Fouls it away, 1-2. Eovaldi continues to work ahead of the hitters.
Yeah, he doesn't get much run support. One of the lowest in the league. He has pitched a lot of really good games for the Marlins this year, and they really like what they have here. This guy and Fernandez gives them 2 real power right-handers.
Mike Redmond, a former catcher, knows a thing or two about solid pitching.
Works fast too.
It's kind of like the Flynn kid last night. He just got it and threw. As she fouls it back to stay alive. 98 on that pitch.
Yeah, that's where that 96 average comes in, because he throws this 98 more than once in a game. He throws it quite a bit. And there's a breakdown right now on his pitches. From a breaking ball again. Well, he kept shaking off till he got the slider. Finally got to 3. And that's what he wants to throw, the harder breaking ball. See if they go back to it. Yeah.
And she's saying it hit his foot. And now Angel Hernandez wants to look at the baseball, looking to see if he can find some of the shoe polish on it. There it is. It's so great with all the technology that they have today. Just looking at a good old-fashioned mark on the ball.
You can hear Ashley say, it hit my foot. Mike Redmond was saying, is that really shoe polish? Oh, yes, it is. There we go with more technology. He's super slow on the breaking ball, and it hit his foot.
It did.
It just took such a quick skip into the catcher's glove that it fooled everybody down there except the guy whose foot it hit. That was funny. Hit my foot.
Well, now Bernardino with a runner at first. And he takes a strike at the knees. Swing and a miss. He threw a 98-mile-an-hour heater right by him. And the side is retired. No runs, no hits. One man left. Phillies have one hit through the first two. We'll go to the third. Your answer on the subject line. Wheels, the question is, which Marlin won the National League ERA title with a 1.89 earned run average in 1996? They had some pretty good pitchers back in the 90s. This guy is more dominant than a lot of their others. We go to the top of the third. Top of the order is up for the Marlins. It'll be Donovan Solano, Ed Lucas, and Christian Yelich. Zach Minor at 49 pitches. And he will get set to begin the third. I mentioned that Ryan Sandberg gave us a number that they'd like Minor to be within, but he did say that it's a cool night, that he may be able to go a little bit longer.
Right, and that's because, as you say, the cool night, the weather's not going to wear him down.
Plus, Zach is a big guy. He's a strong guy, 6'4", 225 pounds.
And he was, as you said, Tom, a starting pitcher at AAA this year, but it's been a while.
0-1 to Solano. Nice play by Ashe. Left his feet for a moment, but then got back to it. One away. Well, he does have good actions over at third.
Yeah, he did a good job sizing that one up to his left. Right there, see some movement before it's hit, and then the little dive right there. Good play. Really not even a tough play for him. I really like to see those infielders have that little bit of movement before the ball's hit as opposed to being flat-footed.
Ed Lucas grounded out his first time up.
They all do it differently too. Some come forward. It just depends what they're comfortable with. But all good infielders, you watch them, they have some kind of movement going on.
Over toward the hole again, off the glove of Ashe this time. And Lucas will be aboard with what should be a base hit. And it would be the second hit of the night. Time now for a Coors Light Cold Hard Fact of the Game, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. The Phillies' 7-game winning streak against the Marlins is the longest against any opponent since they won 8 straight against the Braves in 2011, 2012. Those are some significant games, too, that they won against the Braves.
Yeah, they had a very good run down there in Atlanta against the Atlanta Braves.
So now Yelich is up with a runner at first.
He's been stalled a little bit.
Down the left field line, Dominic Brown as it slices out of play. Yeah, tonight the Braves are battling the Nationals again.
Alex Wood's pitching that game from the young left-hander against big windup.
Ross Ohlendorf.
Ross Ohlendorf. Braves aren't scoring a whole lot in that series. Well, a little bit in the first game, but not in the second game, nor this one. Rich Doobie might be thinking about going to the phone pretty soon just to give him a little warning down there.
There you go.
Don't tell him that we're thinking along with him.
No, he wouldn't like that.
No.
Although we've been around him for a long time, it's not surprising.
Well, he was getting to that pitch count too, where they have really needed to have somebody up if he can't get through this inning and not be surprised by it. So they will.
So it's Luis Garcia who will start the throw once he picks up the baseball that he just dropped. Out of play. 2-2 is what the count remains.
See, there's a lot of guys down there. This game makes it a lot easier to do because of the expanded roster and the off day, as you said, that really factors into it.
Change up wide, 3-2.
They may run here. Try and make something happen. Well, they certainly don't want to strike out into a double play with him on deck. Changeup.
He goes. Pitch is swung on a miss. The throw to second base is in time. Well, good pitch and an excellent throw by Carlos Ruiz. And the side is retired on the strikeout throwout. Double play. No runs, one hit, and nobody left. Carlos has had his issues recently, partly because his pitchers haven't given him a whole lot of time, or maybe too much time. Not this time. He's able to throw out Ed Lucas to wrap up the third. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. By W.B. Mason, you can't go wrong when you buy right. And by Mazda, we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Bottom of the third, Phillies nothing, Marlins nothing. Zach Miner's night seems to be done after 3 innings. As Pete Orr is going to pinch hit for the Phils here in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, they had the perfect spot to do this with Miner due to lead off the inning. Figure that's enough. After 3, might as well use a guy off the bench right now.
1-2 to Pete Orr.
Or as it played a whole lot, I see Garcia getting ready to come in. That fastball has to look really quick. So the idea of 55 to 60, he threw 61. It worked out just right. They were hoping, of course, it would be maybe another inning or more.
Swing and a miss, and he got it with 98. And with one out, we'll go back to the top of the order with Cesar Hernandez. And let's turn it over to Murph, who's with a very special guest.
Very special guest indeed. Many Phillies fans and folks around Philadelphia would certainly know his voice, but you may not know Tom Maloney's face because he has been part of KYW for 25 years, part of the radio scene for 35 years in Philadelphia. And Tom, you're calling it quits. You're retiring next week. This is your final Phillies game, is it not?
Final Phillies game after a whole lot of them since 1988, and I'll be retiring on October 1st, which will be the exact date in 1988 when KYW decided to take a chance on me.
Well, I think it was a good chance. Now, Tom just said to me that they said they'd keep him as long until he got it right. So he said, I have one more night to get it right. But we all know that the folks that have been listening for so many years. Do you have any great memories from covering this team in particular since 1988? What are some of those great memories?
Well, I don't know if I would call it a great memory, but in 1993, the doubleheader that went on for seemingly days and weeks and months before it was over at 4:45 or 4:50 in the morning, and I had hair then when that doubleheader began. That's all gone.
I think that did that to a lot of folks in all around Philadelphia. So next up for you, Tom, you're gonna enjoy not only our country but maybe travel abroad too, huh? At least that's the plan.
Going to try to do that. Going to try to arrange a trip to go to Paris, London, and Rome, and maybe I'll sneak in a trip to Ireland there because it's Thomas Patrick Maloney. Greg Murphy. You're welcome to come along with that name.
I think they'd like us there. I think we'd be okay there.
McCarthy might be allowed to.
We can let him come too. We can have him come too. And Wheeler, he can come too. Absolutely. Well, Tom, on behalf of all of us, it's been a pleasure seeing you. You've always just a tremendously upbeat guy here in the press box, and everybody respects the hard work you've done over the years. Good luck in the next phase of your life.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate that very much. Thank you.
All right. Tom Maloney from KYW, 25 years, 35 years, Tom, on radio in Philadelphia.
Well, what a good man. You're right, Murph. And it's going to be tough not to see Tom at the ballpark come 2014, but I'm sure we'll see him around.
It seemed funny not hearing those updates 2, 3, 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Hearing those updates. Tom's one of those real professional broadcasters, and it's just been an honor to know him all these years, and I hope he comes around still.
Yeah, and I hope he enjoys himself too with his travels, as he said, not only around our country but also overseas and whatever it is he decides to do. Father Judge High School, Philadelphia through and through. Went to McNeese State. That's where he did his undergraduate work. It's no balls and 2 strikes to Jimmy Rollins with a runner at first. And 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. Rollins tries to hold. They'll appeal, and no swing, says Doug Eddings. Jimmy has 23 career home runs against the Marlins. I don't know if he held that time. They're going to appeal, and yeah, he went around. It was a similar pitch. It was a fastball that was coming in, and Jimmy tried to hold his swing, but his body took him all the way through the strike zone.
Yeah, the one before he really did hold up. That one, no. And Doug Eddings got them both right.
Well, now with the runner at first and 2 outs, Chase Utley is the batter. Utley flied to left his first time up. I should say line to left his first time up. been a while since we saw Eovaldi, but compared to last year, this kid has become a much better pitcher. He always threw hard. I just think he's throwing harder than he did last year.
Got a better idea, too. Yeah, well, according to our Bloomberg stuff on him, his fastball velocity is 2 miles per hour more than last year. 94.1 average to 96.3.
His years with the Dodgers, he did make it to the big leagues for 20 games. He was 2-8 with Los Angeles with an earned run average of 3.96. Traded for Randy Choate and Hanley Ramirez. The Marlins are doing all that house cleaning. Utley pulls it toward right, not that deep. Stanton comes in over toward the line. Side is retired. Phillies go down quietly, and they're half for the third. No runs. 1 hit and 1 man left. Looks like it's Luis Garcia's turn when we get back. The Marlins tied. Each team with 2 hits. Luis Garcia will take over here in the 4th inning. Garcia will face Giancarlo Stanton, Justin Ruggiano, and Logan Morrison. Well, we just talked about Tom Maloney retiring after 25 years with KYW. And the Phillies PR staff was nice enough to bring a retirement cake. And there are the members of the Philadelphia media.
Wow.
Getting a chance to celebrate Tommy's great work over the years. Mandy Hausnick getting a picture with Leslie Goodell doing the filming. Jim Salisbury was there. Chris Branch. First pitch is a strike to Stanton. Garcia's numbers 0-1, a 4.74 ERA. Todd Zolecki, Matt Gelb, Dennis Deitch, they were all there. Slider for strike 2. It's 0-2. Jackie Shore. Jackie's probably covered sports in this city with Tom Maloney for years. Outside 1-2. Sarge, why don't you go over and do the update on KYW?
Yeah, I mean, everybody, they're not going to know what's going on in the game here, huh?
You know, if I saw Wheels walk by, maybe he's going to go over, put the headsets on, and do the update for Tom.
Yeah, he's listening to us.
Swing and a miss. He got it with a slider. Boy, that was a ferocious swing on a pitch that wasn't even close to the plate.
Yeah, just looking for one pitch, looking fastball. Take a look as he bails on it, too. Look at him as he sits. He just wanted no part of that at bat, period.
Here's Ruggiano. Ruggiano struck out in the first inning. Minor threw a lot of pitches in that first, but he got a big out in that first inning of Ruggiano to end the top of the first.
Yeah, all these guys come in, they got pretty good arms, throwing in the 90s. Again, you got to know what you're doing with that pitch. Got to be able to hit your spots with it. Yeah, other than that, guys will just kind of wait you out. And preferably get the ball down.
Out of play.
Kind of got away with a pitch there. Fastball almost right down the middle.
Swing and a miss. And it's 2-2. Pretty good slider.
Good slider. After that 94, 95 mile an hour fastball. That slider looks like a fastball coming out of your hand, and at the good ones the last minute actually darts away.
Out to right field. That's pretty well hit. Bernardina going back, and it's going to slice off the wall. He kicks it, and then his throw into second base on one hop is in time.
Wow. Boy, he's showing some athleticism out there in right field. Bernardina having the mind where he couldn't get it too close to the fence. Check this out. He's going to kick it and then throw him out. Look at this throw. Right on the money there. He has shown that he has a good arm. He puts the ball right there on the money.
Well, Ruggiano's saying that he got his hand in because he pulled back his right hand and got his left hand in. That replay showed that he might have done that, but David Rackley was kind of shielded. But a good play by Bernardina, and it's 0-1 to Logan Morrison.
Well, let's take a look at it and see whether or not he actually did do that. Can't tell really from that side, but when that throw beats you right there, you just head to the dugout.
Inside, 1-1.
Take another look at it as he comes in, and you know what? Might have been safe. But you could see, though, umpire blocked out. No way he could see that hand not being able to go away from the bag.
Over to first, Aaron Ruff. An easy inning here in the fourth for Luis Garcia. No runs a hit, nobody left. Roger Bernardina's throw was a big deal to help the Phillies get through this fourth inning. Carlos Ruiz will lead it off. Covered in the break room with an all-star selection of food and beverage products. W.B. Mason will satisfy all your cravings. Bottom of the fourth inning. Scoreless game. Not a whole lot of offense. Evaldi's been dominant at times on the mound for the Marlins. Phillies have been able to patch 4 innings together with Zach Miner and Luis Garcia. Both have held the Marlins scoreless. And now as we go to the bottom of the fourth, Carlos Ruiz will lead it off.
Now he's the type of pitcher, don't want to even swing at that breaking ball. You want him to make him throw you that fastball, hopefully down in the zone. That's the one I'm talking about. You know, to me, it seemed like it would be very hard to pick up. But if you're swinging at it, you want that ball up in the zone. Fastball, you want that down in the zone. Hard to get on top of 98.
2-0. This guy's a totally different pitcher, though, Sarge, than we saw last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's throwing a whole lot harder than he did last year.
And more experience. Let's see, he becomes predictable again. Here's that 2-0 fastball. Again, maybe a little bit high, but as a hitter, don't want to be late, especially when you're selling out and you're looking for that one pitch. Okay, well then go on and go after it.
Back toward the middle, off Evaldi. And as long as he's okay, that was a break. It's a 1-6-3 putout.
Yeah, hit him in the right spot. Right on the backside. Everybody's coming out. He had already said, hey, I'm okay. See, he's doing a little bit of laughing. As long as that hits you in a soft spot, you're fine. And not on the leg. Take a look at it as he turns right on the backside. Maybe right near the hamstring area. Take a look at it again. Nevertheless, didn't appear like it really hit him flush or. I hit him pretty good.
Yeah.
Gave him a good little spank there.
I was going to say. Getting a chance to just isolate it like that.
This guy's a good athlete, though. I mean, he never went down, kind of almost surprising him, however. Let you throw that ball down the middle, a little bit away. Good chance for it to go right up the middle. Carlos gets robbed on a hit.
Dominic Brown popped out his first time up. They go soft with him. It's 0-1. In the dirt, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Dominic 4 for 9 right now against Evaldi.
Kind of see Dominic searching for that timing, and it's a little thing, but it can become huge in terms of hitting. And when you have it, you're like seeing the ball like you're Carlos Ruiz, and then when you don't, you're just a little bit jumpy and not really knowing whether or not it's a ball or a strike at times. Whether or not he gets a fastball here. I know he threw him a 3-2 breaking pitch. It's kind of this respect right there.
Outside, ball 4. First walk issued by Evaldi. So he's hit a batter and he's walked a batter. Here comes Darren Ruff.
He threw Darren some good sliders the last time.
Yeah, he did. Darren's now 1 for 4 against Evaldi. Out towards center. Hit it toward the end of the bat. And there are 2 outs.
Aggressive, however, on that fastball, and it was down, so that's a positive on that. Just off the end a little bit.
So that'll bring Cody Ashley to the plate. Ashley was hit by a pitch his first time up. That means he's reached base safely in 20 of his last 23 games. Takes low off the glove of Mathis. Brown is caught. He should have just kept on going. A throw to Echeverria, who runs him back toward first, and Brown is tagged out. And that'll wrap up the 4th inning. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. We've completed 4. It's been kind of an interesting first 4 innings. Chance of a lifetime. It's Phillies Fantasy Camp. It'll take place January 22nd to the 26th, 2014 in Clearwater, Florida. Hotel accommodations, instruction from baseball legends like Larry Anderson, John Kruk, Greg Luzinski. You can find out more by going to philliescamps.com. Echeverria will lead it off. I shouldn't say that you're actually not going to be there this year. You have other events that you have to tend to during the offseason.
Yeah, well, it just depends whether or not I can have the right partner with me. Usually John Denny and I, we've done that before where we've actually won every game down there, believe it or not.
As you were the manager, he was the pitching coach?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. 2 balls and no strikes the count.
All about motivation, Tom. Doesn't matter whether or not they're 70 or not, they still get around those bases.
Just put a 6-pack in a certain spot, they can get there.
Well, I'm trying to tell you.
Echeverria takes a strike. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Echeverria reached on an infield hit his first time up, so he's 1 for 1. Off the end of the bat, and he just fouls it into center. So he's aboard with his second hit. And that begins the 5th. And the other thing about the bullpen working here tonight is that a lot of these guys have not gotten regular work. So this could give them that work that they've been looking for. I figure Savory, who's walking around with his hands in his jacket, he might be able to throw a couple innings. Of course, J.C. Ramirez.
Well, believe it or not, though, this is the time when they all want to really be able to get in and kind of show their stuff. Everybody is on kind of showcase, if you will.
Shallow right, Bernardina. It's up there high enough. He'll get there. And 1 away.
Well, the better you do right now, the easier it is for you when there's a decision to be made next year on whether or not you'll make that club. This goes a long way.
All right, now, Rich Doobie's been around for a long time. Ryan Sandberg's been around for a long time. Sometimes they say these games in September don't really have a whole lot of importance when you're out of the race. But there is still importance for these guys, right?
Absolutely, especially depending on the player. Big games here for Darren Ruff, you would think, to show what he can do.
Baldy bunts at it and misses. And it's 0-1.
Sorry, Tom, but the same would apply, for the pitchers. I mean, even Galvis, look how much comfortable he even looks when he's out there in the field. Not all in awe right now, and it's just a matter of, hey, when I get in, I know what I want to do, and he's been trying and been doing it, really. Pretty tough a lot of times to get noticed there in spring training, especially if you have a lot of veterans, because they're getting ready. They're going to take up the bulk of the time. So right now, where you have a lot of the players here that are young, this is your time to try and show. We talked about that before, back in the day. I mean, we called it the salary drive.
They got to play at second. The throw is high, though, and it's off the glove of Rollins, so everybody is safe.
Just rushed it a little bit.
Well, that'll be a Saki, too, I would think. And there are runners on first and second with one out for Solano.
Yeah, you can see when he jumped out there, having that momentum, that it was going to be a high throw. You can see where he let it go, hit Jimmy Rollins right in the web. Even if he catches it, I think he might have been safe because he jumped up coming off the bat.
So they scored E2 fielder's choice. So the official scored. Felt like the out would have been recorded at second base. It was a clean throw. I would agree with him on that.
Well,
now you're right though. If Jimmy had gone off the bag and come down, he would have been safe.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. 0-1.
Well, the difference though is that decision. I mean, you have your runners on there. The pitcher that bunted the ball just doesn't get credit for a sacrifice bunt.
Right. Right through the 5-hole. Runners will move up. And that means runners on second and third now with one out. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, an update from D.C. There's really nothing going on. They're in the bottom of the fifth. Braves nothing, Nationals nothing. Although the Nats have the bases loaded with one out, and Jason Worth is coming up.
See that Darren Denard Span still looking for that 29th hit in a row, I think it would be.
Yep.
Infield playing in. Not a lot of scoring here so far tonight. See whether or not they're going on contact.
Out towards second. They may have a play. Nope, Utley's going to go to first. That was the right play. He would have been taking a chance if he had come home.
Yeah.
It's an RBI and a ground out.
You can see how that just happened so quick. They get the sign from the manager. Ball hit on the ground, you're automatically coming home, and you know it to be true because your runner at second base automatically, when it was hit, he went right to third there. Take a look at it as he comes home. Looking at Utley there, kind of seemed like he had a play. His decision, however, on whether or not he wants to go home or to third base.
ball, 1 strike. Over to the right side. And Darren Ruff is pretty fluid over there at first base. Side is retired. 1 run does score. We've played 4.5. The Marlins have struck first. Cody Ashley will. Give their take on Andy Reid's return to Philly as a Chief on Thursday night. All that and more on Philly Sports Talk only on Comcast Sportsnet. Well, Luis Garcia has allowed 1 run during his time out on the mound. Meanwhile, Nate Eovaldi now has a 1-run lead to work with. And he will face Cody Ashley, Roger Bernardina in the pitcher spot. Ethan Martin is starting to warm up in the bullpen. So that means the Phillies will pinch hit here in the 5th.
Garcia threw that ball pretty good. Had some pretty good breaking balls. Giving up that 1 run, and really with an out being recorded, he wouldn't have given up any of those runs on that bunt play.
She fouls it away, 1-2. Let's take a look at our Mazda leaders, and we talked about how the Phillies have done in September. Well, the last 10 days, their batting average is the highest in the National League. A pretty good margin.
Well, you stay away from those. A lot of strikeouts. They have had really pretty good at bats. Not swinging as wildly as they had early on. Having a game plan, though, will help, and knowing the strike zone.
Out towards center field, Ruggiano took a peek. He had plenty of room. And now 1 away. Well, prior to tonight's ball game, the Phillies honored some of the individuals who performed outstandingly off the field. That's right. It's the Phillies Step Up Community Service Award. Players who have shown leadership throughout the minor leagues and their community service, and there are the award winners from each spot on the Phillies tree. David Buchanan, who pretty good pitcher for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, represented them. And it's a pretty nice honor for all these guys, from Andrew Poulin to Art Charles, Cameron Perkins, all out on the field in their team's uniform top. It's kind of a the foundation for what the players will hopefully do when they come to the big leagues, because there has been so much great work done by some Phillies players over the years once they come to the big leagues. Trying to emulate the work that Gary Maddox and Greg Luzinski did when they were big leaguers, when they were the Roberto Clemente Award winners.
Always great to give back.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Bernardino can be frustrating for a hitting coach. I mean, it looks like he really would have a lot of ability. There are times he gets a little bit long with his swing that prevents him from catching up to that fastball. But we've seen him when he catches up to it, he hits the ball a long way. He just needs to get more consistent. He plays great defense, has a good arm, but his hitting doesn't allow him to play in that lineup on a daily basis. You think too, good back control there. He chokes up. Usually when you're choking up that way there, you're not going to just be swinging there for the fences. You're swinging for hard contact.
There's ball 4, so he's aboard with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. And speaking of the Roberto Clemente Award, a little bit of a prelude. Chase Utley is the Phillies nominee for this year's Roberto Clemente Award. Each team nominates 1 player, and then 1 player, last year it was Clayton Kershaw, will be selected. The Clemente nominees the last 6 years. Well, those guys have done a lot of great work. Rollins has been nominated twice. And, of course, Chase nominated for the first time. We mentioned earlier that Greg Luzinski in 1978 and Gary Maddox a few years later in 86 were the recipients of the Roberto Clemente Award overall. Michael Martinez is a pinch hitter, slices it to left, 1 or 2 outs. And here's Cesar Hernandez.
Pretty good hitting again. You can't guide it. Got him a strike, put good wood on it.
Hernandez is 1 for 2. Sargey's now 5 for 10 in the series.
Well, he's really starting to look good in terms of putting that ball on the bat. I'll tell you what has helped him though, kind of staying up the middle a little bit. He waits back, kind of transfers weight the way that you should. It's a slight open stance. I'm impressed because he's able to go and play out in center field and any of those outfield positions, and he looks good.
Toward the right side, that'll get through the hole. Bernardino around second, he'll hold up there. Giancarlo Stanton got there quickly, so Hernandez has 2 hits tonight, and it brings Jimmy Rollins to the plate with the Phillies down 1 here in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, he does. He hits that ball right where it's pitched. That ball not hit hard, but hard enough. You're not dealing with a guy that's easy to hit. He's been really all over the place. At times, he throws the breaking ball over. It's possible to hit that one, and a good fastball above average.
Mathis keeps it in front of him. 1 ball, no strikes.
be another predictable pitch. Should get him a fastball. Throw that breaking ball at all. Just let it go.
You ever thought about a green light here, 3-0?
I don't be thinking that Rhino is going to be giving a lot of the guys 3-0 hits unless you prove that to him you know the strike zone. And just for me, with the way that Chase Utley's been swinging, if I'm hitting in front of him, I'm trying to get on for the guy that is hot.
3-0 is low, ball 4. That loads up the bases. 2 walks in the inning for Eovaldi. Third time through. And now Chase, who's lined out to left and flying out to right. Chuck Hernandez, the veteran pitching coach, goes out to talk to the right-hander.
Well, he can do one or two things there. First pitch fastball in the zone. If he likes it, he can go right at it. Other than that, because of the walks, you can make him throw a strike.
Now the 2014 schedule is out, and it includes a home opener on Monday, April 7th at 3:05 against the Milwaukee Brewers. Phillies will have interleague games here at Citizens Bank Park against the Blue Jays, the Mariners, and the Angels. There are a number of 3:05 games on Saturday afternoons. Full and partial ticket plan information is available right now. You get great benefits, including ticket discounts, free sale opportunities, and much more. Visit Phillies.com or call 215-463-5000. Here's Chase Utley. He's tied with Cy Williams on the all-time home run list with 217. Greg Luzinski is next up on that list. And the ball is off the glove of Mathis, and the Phillies will tie the game up. Bernardino scores easily, and it's a 1-1 game. They scored a wild pitch.
Let's see exactly where that is. I don't think it actually hit the dirt at all. Take a look at this.
He just missed it.
Yeah, that's what you call boxing up the ball there. It should not be, for me, a wild pitch.
I think they'll change it to a pass ball. Yeah, they just changed it. It was a wild pitch, and they changed it to a pass ball. Mike McConey, Phillies official scorer, saw the replay, realized it didn't hit the dirt. Inside, 2-0.
Got to have that same game plan. Obviously looking for his pitch, but as a hitter, you don't have to even think about that breaking ball now. Even if he does throw it for a strike, I'm staying on my strength there. Just going to sit on that fastball.
And he pulls it into right field, a base hit. He stays hot. 2 runs will score. It's a 2-run hit for Utley, and the Phillies lead it 3-1. Boy, he has had a smoking hot month of September.
But just the way that, not only the way he carries himself, but when he thinks up there at the plate, he knows the pitch he's going to get. He already started the bad hit there. Look what he does. He just drops it down, line drive. That ball's hit. I thought Stantino should have thrown the ball home. But when you're facing a guy that's throwing the ball that hard, you want to make him throw the ball down. And when he's not able to throw the breaking ball, boy, you have him. You got his number. That's just nice hitting.
Well, the pass ball by Mathis and the 2-run single by Utley, the Phillies lead it 3-1.
Well, you're right. He has been picking up some RBIs besides hits.
Well, that's 16 RBIs now, Sarge, in the month of September. And it's 1-0 to Ruiz.
Really surprised, though, that he gave in to him with a right-hander coming up next and it being 2 outs. Even though Carlos has been hitting the ball well over the last week or so, or maybe even longer. Just the way that Chase has been hitting the ball and behind in the count. I want to have tried to pitch around him, but too late.
Utley gets back just as Morrison applies the tag. By the way, you may have seen in that shot, Dave Brundage, the Phillies AAA manager, is in the third base coach's box for Juan Samuel. A.J. Ramos is warming up in the bullpen. Not sure if Sammy felt ill at all tonight. Hope he's okay. But Dave was the one waving home Jimmy Rollins for that third run.
And most of the managers that are in A-ball, AA, AAA, they go to third base. They're calling the signs, so they're the ones bringing in the runners. So they're used to being out there and being on the lines there at third base. They're not in awe either. Matter of fact, I'm sure he relishes that opportunity to be there at third base coach.
Carlos taking all the way. And that'll put 2 more runners aboard, and Dominic Brown will bat here in the 5th. Dave Brundage is over at third base. Sammy had a personal matter that he had to tend to. So Dominic Brown 0 for 1. He walked his last time. And a number foul. 0-1.
Well, the only team so far to lose 100 games, Houston Astros. My good friend, Bo Porter, who manages that ball club. When you're looking down the list, the only other club, maybe outside chance, would be the Miami Marlins there.
Fly ball shallow left center. Yelich backpedals a few steps, puts it away. Side is retired. Chase Utley, his 2-run single, broke a 1-1 tie here in the 5th. The Phillies have the lead. Lee could be amazing anytime he takes the mound, and he took it to the next level against the Miami Marlins. He pitched 8 dominating innings and struck out 14, his best since 2011. And of course, he allowed no walks. All this while eclipsing the 200 strikeout and inning plateau this season. That was just the beginning. He then added a personal best 3 hits, 4 RBIs, and his first career triple. It was a very special night for Cliff, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Oh, it was a very special night for Cliff Lee. What he did the other night, that got the Phillies off on a nice note. in this series. And now Ethan Martin will be the third pitcher used tonight for the Phils. He'll come on here in the 6th. He'll pick up for Luis Garcia. Martin 2-4, his earned run average 6.27. He's been used out of the bullpen the last 2 appearances he's made in the big leagues. And he's looked quite comfortable. And now because of Chase Utley's 2-run single, Ethan Martin has a lead to work with. Christian Yelich leads it off. Martin pitched in game 1. He pitched the 9th inning.
That's what he wants to do, come in and throw strikes. So a test for Martin. I mean, after starting, obviously they're looking for someone in that bullpen to pick up 2 or 3 innings at a time as opposed to 1. And if he could throw strikes, he certainly would have a good chance in winning that position. You know, the main thing for these young guys, obviously, is to contribute, but to make it to the major leagues. Good pitch.
He is free and easy. You know, that's the one thing you can tell. He's not working to get it up to 94, 95 miles an hour.
No, not with a lot of effort.
Opposite way, and a base hit for Yelich. It's his 4th hit in the series.
Good pitch, just need to be down some.
Stanton's 0 for 1. Walked his first time.
Yeah, he's kind of gotten away a little bit from driving that ball to right field. He used to be notorious for that. He's gotten into a little bit of a pool mode. Been hitting some balls off the end of the back some. But make no bones about it, he can leave the ballpark in any area. And he's been swinging at bad balls in the dirt. That hard slider.
Fly ball deep left center field. Forget about that one. That is long gone.
Wow.
On to Ashburn Alley and over to Planet Hoagie. It's a tie ball game. The guy in the yellow in line at Planet Hoagie just grabbed that home run.
Well, you never know what you're going to get. Well, I'm going to tell you what.
That may have challenged Evan Gattis' home run.
You know what? He hit it and he hit it good, but he didn't get it like he can. Take a look at it. Now there's that. Well, you know what it is, fans. That's a hanging slider, and that's how far it's going to go. And you can tell that little dot there just spinning. And what happens? That pitch doesn't break away, and what it does is it breaks out as it just hit a ton.
All right, that did not go as far as Gattis's. Ruggiano swings at the first pitch, and Bernardino makes the catch. But it was the 23rd home run of the year for Stanton.
Believe it or not, he caught it on the end just a little bit.
Look at him high-five the lady at Planet Hoagie. Hey.
All right. That's pretty good.
Keep the change, man. There's Logan Morrison. Yeah, there's a standing room only and a handicap section out there. That's where that hit, and it bounced. So Gattis' home run was much farther.
Well, the thing about both of them, when it left the bat, you knew exactly.
It was a home run.
Exactly. Now, that's what makes him so special, that he doesn't have to hit that ball right on the nose and Stanton for the ball to get out of it. Doesn't have to pull the ball to get a home run. I just mentioned he can hit it in any dimension in the ballpark.
It's 1-2 to Logan Morrison.
I think it would be scary to think of the numbers that he would put up if he was in a good lineup, where you had maybe 3 or 4 other good hitters on your team, say maybe like in Los Angeles.
And they got him. Foul tip. Ruiz hangs on.
Sure, they're discussing the home runs, and you see how far that went.
It's tough not to discuss it if you can hit it that far.
I tell you, we've seen him before. If you ever get the chance, take a look at him in batting practice. It's just scary how loud the ball sounds coming off of his bat.
Echeverria bunts. Ashe charges, bare hands, throws on the run, dug out by Ruff. That's a fine play all the way around. Side is retired. However, the Marlins tie it up. That guy says, I can't catch a ball sitting right here. I got to go to Planet Hoagie to get something to drink. And then something will find me. By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies. And by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. Well, Ethan Martin has given up a 2-run home run in the top of the 6th inning, so we're all even at 3. Nate Eovaldi's night is done. Giancarlo Stanton, his home run means that Eovaldi can't lose this game. Can't win it either, so he'll receive a no decision. A.J. Ramos will take over for the Marlins. We saw Ramos a handful of times down in Miami. This kid threw the ball pretty well.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of games, 74 innings here. Anytime you have more strikeouts than innings, you know that you're doing one heck of a job there, usually as a reliever, or any pitcher for that matter.
So Darren Ruff will lead it off. Breaking ball, and it's a strike. 0-1. One ball, one strike. That'll find the seats. It's 1-2.
That's one of the other things too Darren Ruff will learn as he was practicing on just shortening up a little bit. Once he gets to that 2 strikes, really wants to shorten it up just to really make contact, because again they've been throwing him down and away.
Delayed call by Angel Hernandez, and he calls a strike 3. For years, StubHub has been the place to go to purchase Phillies tickets, and this season you can get more with your tickets thanks to StubHub Fan Rewards. So get to StubHub and grab your seats today.
No secret, he gets 2 strikes on him. That's where the pitchers, or at least the right-handed pitchers, are trying to go to get Darren Ruff out. That's with that a breaking ball that's away, usually the slider.
One.
At least that one was up there. A little surprised that he didn't offer at it up in the zone there. Usually they get him on the ball, it's a little bit lower.
As she lines it. Oh, what a play by Echeverria. Wow, you can't jump any higher than that.
Holy cow.
How about the crowd's reaction, too? I mean, they understand.
Well, yes, they do.
That's a very good baseball play right there.
Yes, they do. That's what makes Philly fans so special. They recognize really good plays.
Well, it's our Hyundai defensive play of the game, and why not?
Well, you're talking about getting up, snow cone. Hey, he got up so high, he lost his balance. He couldn't land on his feet there. Take a look at it. Young enough, though, that does not bother him.
Put a basketball in that young man's hand. Let's see how high he can go. Wow. It's our Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
Boy, it looked like he just kept climbing and climbing.
What a great shot.
Oh, boy.
Love the reaction from the crowd, too.
That was impressive. I understand why he keeps looking at those low fastballs. Maybe he's just not picking them up. But those are, for him, good pitches to be able to hit, as opposed to that high fastball.
Justin DeFreitas is in the bullpen. Looks like he'll be next up for the Phils. Two balls and 2 strikes to Bernardino. Eric Kratz is out on deck to pinch hit.
Get himself a good pitch here and drive it. Sure that it's down, and see if he gets a fastball to be able to hit.
And he pulls it right past Logan Morrison for a base hit. Bernardino's aboard. And Kratz will indeed get a chance to bat. Kratz is due. In fact, he's long overdue. His batting average has dipped since the All-Star break, since he came back from that knee injury. Talk about not having timing. He hasn't had much timing at all.
No doubt. And then Carlos ended up getting hot, so that cut down even more playing time. Even a little more difficult, though. Kratz has a tendency every now and then on certain pitches, he comes up. And when you come up, that eye level is going to come up too, so it does make it hard for him to stay consistent with that stroke. See how he came up on that one and went down? Well, that's wasted motion. And it has to be smooth, all in one motion, going toward that pitcher. Once you do that move there, you're done. There's no recovery and saying, okay, I'm going to be able to hit it. You are done from trying to hit that ball or with any authority anyway.
Pop up on the left side. Oh, they don't know who's going to get it. And now Kratz is caught between first and second. Bernardina's going to head home. Morrison will come to the plate, so they got the rundown going. There was a break for the Phillies for a moment, and Bernardina is out going back to third. Eric Kratz got caught in no man's land, and Echeverria took that hop on the bare hand.
Yeah, third baseman's fault for me. I thought it was his play all the way.
Well, no harm, no foul for the Marlins.
Time now for your local Honda dealers game summary. Another good ball game tonight here. The Phillies had a 3-1 lead in this game, but then Giancarlo Stanton hit one of those monster home runs that only he can hit, and it was really something to see. His 23rd of the year, that tied it up. Nate Eovaldi had a pretty good ball game, a little bit wild in one inning, but he has a big-time arm. Chase Utley is just red hot for the Phillies. Look at all those RBIs that he has, and it's a bullpen game, and now they're going to turn it over to Justin DeFreitas.
So DeFreitas in his 54th ball game, 3-3 with an ERA of 4.29. Jeff Mathis will lead it off. It'll be Mathis, then Dobbs will pinch hit. Swing and a miss. It's 0-1. Mathis is popped out and he's flied out. Two. They threw him a couple of good sliders in this at bat. So one out here in the seventh. And then Dobbs is going to come back, and Juan Pierre will pinch hit.
Yeah, as Tom said, another good breaking ball here. Got ahead of him, throws a slider there. That's a good one. Showed it as a strike, finished it as a ball, and he swung over.
So here's Pierre, who is 175th all-time in hits with Joe DiMaggio. He has 11 pitch hits this year.
That's really something. You get your name, as Mike Dunn gets up in the bullpen, you get your name put up there with DiMaggio. Wow. That's just special. Nice going, Juan Pierre.
Did that hit him?
He missed him somehow. His feet are still quick. I think he gets his feet out of the way. It's a breaking ball that's chasing him.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah, he did.
Normally that's one of those back foot sliders. It's going to hit the back foot. Except both his feet came up in the air at the same time.
Out toward left field, not deep. Here comes Dominic Brown, and he's not going to be able to get there in time. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. These lucky fans are tonight's Citizens 7. They were interested in a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank, with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. The young lady was very excited.
Free stuff.
Yeah, in a green bag. I do believe somebody missed a ball.
Sounds like somebody almost made a good play. That ball was scalded.
I think that guy did get it eventually.
It was headed towards the sweets, though. Oof.
Here you go. Take a look. Oh!
Oh, boy.
Oh!
That wasn't pretty.
Not even a little bit. But he did get it.
Terry Martin used to say that ain't even cute.
Ground ball to second. Chase Utley.
It ain't pretty.
Makes the play. I hope that guy had a cup on.
The first one.
Yeah.
That guy, too.
Now 2 outs, and Donovan Solano is coming up.
You're not talking about our Mark.
No. Although something would have helped. It looks okay.
Are you kidding me? And I'm sitting next to you? That's what
He's
I
on
tried
the phone.
to do.
Okay, hit him in the gut. I got you.
Belly.
Well, for some of us, that would be better protection.
Yeah, well, that's it certainly was in his case.
Donovan Solano has an RBI tonight and a ground out. That is 1-0.
Somebody else would have been answering his phone for him.
That may not be on our fans' plays of the year, moments of the year.
No.
Which will air on the final day of the regular season.
I have some good ones, too. Great plays this year. And a few of those, like we just saw.
Do you think anything would trump that, the grandma who caught the ball in San Francisco the other night? Did you see that?
I didn't see that. Who caught it?
A grandma.
A grandmother.
Yeah.
Is that right? Wow.
Brought her glove to the game, and it paid off.
Kuiper and Kruko enjoy that?
I'm sure they did. I had the sound down. I just watched it.
Okay. He'd have been circling them.
Well, you can do that now.
Well, sometimes.
Into the on-deck circle. It's 2-2.
Ooh, he's had a couple close ones in this at bat.
It's been a strike a couple times tonight. Just not there. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Solano. The young ladies just startled Ed Lucas when they found out they were on television. Startled. Out towards second. Knocked down by Utley, but he won't have a play. Solano will be safe. Ball was hit hard. And Solano has his 3rd hit of the series. And that'll bring Lucas up. Pretty good player, Donovan Solano. He's out of Columbia. His brother Jonathan is the backup catcher for the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, they're hoping that he and possibly Echeverria could be a double play combination for them. They're both very athletic. Solano looks like a little better offensive player.
Obviously a little older, originally selected or signed by the St. Louis Cardinals. Lucas fouls it away. It's 0-1. Now the 1-2 pitch. Well, he tied him up with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. It's time to stretch here in Philadelphia. The Marlins and the Phillies even at 3. Question one more time. Which Marlin won the National League ERA title with a 1.89 ERA in 1996?
I need some help on this because this is before the Beckett area, Dempster, those kind of guys.
All right, I'm going to give you a hint, and you're going to get it.
All right.
When he signed a lucrative contract, it was much criticized. It was the first $100 million contract signed by a pitcher.
Sinker baller?
Yeah.
Guy that Dan McDonough got in trouble with one day.
I don't remember that.
I'll tell you that story. Kevin Brown.
Kevin Brown is correct. I remember I was at the winter meetings, and I just so happened to be walking by Peter Gammons, and I had met him the year before, and he's the one that told me about the $105 million contract, that they were going to have a press conference in the other room. I had never been to a Major League press conference, and just folks were startled that the Dodgers would give him that kind of money.
That was a lot of money that he got. Well, we're at Bright House Field, and Dan does those little games between innings. Well, Kevin Brown warmed up fast. He was ready to go.
Ready to go.
Well, Dan hadn't finished yet.
Which one was he doing?
He was doing the
stump the press box.
Yeah, he was on the first base dugout. Anyway, Kevin Brown is staring daggers at him on top of
That's great.
on top of the dugout, and all of a sudden, Dan just literally stopped in the middle of the contest, and that was the end of it. He was mean-looking, Kevin Brown.
Yeah, he was. He was nasty when he was in his heyday.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Dunn, as you just saw, takes over for the Marlins. Cesar Hernandez, who has 2 hits tonight, will lead it off. And he shows bunt, takes a pitch outside. It's 1-0.
Dan learned his lesson that day. Sometimes you have to move those contests along a little bit quicker.
For the love of the game.
For the love of the game.
Or for life, because the mound and the dugout aren't too far apart.
Well, I didn't know that Kevin Brown might not throw a sinker at him.
2-0.
Hit a home run that day, too, onto the tiki bar. Big Kevin Brown.
Cesar Hernandez, I think, is turning a lot of heads with what he's done offensively and even defensively over the last several weeks.
Well, he certainly is a keeper, and whatever that role is will play itself out. But he is, as you say, he has really turned some heads, and very, very positive the way you look at him right now, the things he can do. A lot of positive things.
He's ahead 3-0. You figure he's taken here with Dunn delivering. That's ball 4.
He does that too, Tom. Leading off innings, you'll see him do this, where he'll run deep counts and he'll get on base. When you need a hit, he'll get a base hit. Smart player.
Well, his on-base percentage here in September is .455.
And that includes, that's what I mean about walks.
That doesn't even include tonight. It's a little higher even after tonight because he's been on base 3 times tonight with 2 singles and a walk.
Probably not a bunt situation because a left-handed hitter on deck who's really hot right now in Chase Utley. But still, Dunn is tough on left-handed hitters. If this were a right-hander out there, Jimmy Rollins could conceivably be bunting, although they'd have walked Utley. So
B.J. Rosenberg warming up in the bullpen. Say he went around on that. Yep.
It looked like he did too. Yeah, we'll get you on that one because the whole body's going too, and the hands and the bat.
Swing and a miss, and Rollins is struck out, 1 away.
He had hit this guy well too, 4 for 10 with a homer and 6 RBIs. Another reason why you weren't bunting with him.
All All right, it's the wheels. It's time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam, and this is the way Sarge used to do it.
Yeah. Wow. That's remarkable.
It is remarkable.
Not a real good landing for him, though. Ooh. That is quite a play. Look at how high off the ground he
That
is.
is a great shot right there. Bernie, way to go, buddy.
That's a freeze frame.
Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Nice going, Coors. He almost did a face plant because he was off balance when he came. How could he not be?
Utley pulls it foul.
Teammates are going to take a few style points away, I think, for the face plant.
Well, I don't know if there's anybody on this team that can jump as high as he just did.
That is so athletic. Yeah, it was followed by a hit. Of course, there was that pop-up in the infield. They had the confusion on the drop. Did you see Rich Doobie show him arm angle right there? Getting up to release point.
There's the Fanatic looking like a hologram over Chase Utley's shoulder.
Chase and Dunn go back a long way with some battles they've had over the years. He is 3 for 11 off him. All singles, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout. That was late.
I guess Chase called it.
Yeah. Well, he knew. I guess he knows he's going to get a fastball there. Now, will he throw it again?
Off his foot, and it's 1-2.
Well, that's interesting. After the time was called, threw a fastball. Now, after that, they go to slider. And that's probably not unusual after you've shown him what you're going to throw. You throw something different. Fastball.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Utley. Ruiz is on deck. Utley pops it up. They had problems with this earlier, and Echeverria is going to take charge this time. And he makes the catch, 2 outs. Don't forget, the Phillies are looking to hire a staff of ball girls to represent the organization in the community as well as perform duties on the field. The requirements are public relations skills, softball experience, knowledge of the game of baseball, strong interpersonal skills and outgoing personality, flexible schedule. You must be 18 years of age. Interested? See Phillies.com/community for all the details. Deadline for applications is October 15th. Philly ball girls, of course, are out on the field here tonight. Stephanie down the right field line. But they're also in the crowd with the Red Goes Green team leading the charge. Stephanie and Mackenzie are doing that. There's Stephanie. I believe Michelle was down the left field line. 1 ball, no strikes to Ruiz. He's 0 for 2. Hit the ball hard a couple of at-bats ago. In the dirt, and it's 2-0.
3 for 5 lifetime off done with an RBI, all singles.
As if he's working around him with Dominic Brown on deck. I hate to put the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Right.
But he's nowhere near the strike zone compared to the way he was with Chase Utley.
He may be more comfortable going with a left. Off an inexperienced guy. Brown is 2 for 6 off him, though, with 2 walks.
Carlos gets the green light and he pulls it to left field. Yelich is there and he just missed it. Makes the catch a step from the track, and the side is retired. No runs, no hits. 1 man left. We'll introduce you to Zach Rosenberg, or BJ Rosenberg, when we return. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Top of the 8th inning, all tied up at 3. Marlins with 7 hits. Phillies with 6. Here's BJ Rosenberg. He pitched in last night's ball game. He did give up a run. Right back at it here. Rosenberg 2-0, a 3.52 ERA. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, Braves and Nationals update. The Braves lead the Nats 4-2, but Denard Span has extended his hitting streak to 29 consecutive games. Nationals record is 30. That was Ryan Zimmerman who did that.
Did it in the 7th inning of the game.
First pitch to Yelich is inside. It's 1-0. That game is a big one for a number of reasons, but the Reds are leading the Astros 3-1. And every game is important for the Nationals. They're 4.5 games behind the Reds for the final playoff spot.
Yeah, they really can't lose too many games, and they have to hope people in front of them lose, and that's the most difficult position to be in. Certainly not insurmountable, but that's the tough one.
One and two the count. Yelich has singled, he's walked, he's also struck out. He lays off that breaking pitch.
Their closer, Cishek, doesn't get a whole lot of closing opportunities, save opportunities, but when he gets one, he nails it down. So you really don't want to get behind in the game and have him come into it because he's really been good for them.
Pitch was a little closer than Yelich made it seem. He raised his arms up and it just tailed off the inner half. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And a called strike 3. Yelich thought it was ball 4. And Rosenberg gets the strikeout. 1 out. It's time for the Major League Notebook. Murph, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, T-Mac. Brought to you by Gwynedd Mercy University. It's starting to look more likely that Jason Hayward will be back in the Braves lineup before the end of the season. He's working his way back, of course, from that broken jaw he suffered on August 21st. Now, he took some live batting practice today, and the speculation is that he'll be back in their lineup on Monday for their final homestand, which, of course, includes the Phillies. And Dodgers, well, tonight they could be the first team to clinch a playoff spot. With a win tonight over the Diamondbacks, they will clinch the NL West, which is really kind of impressive when you stop to think about it. They were in last place on July the 1st. They have worked their way all the way back and could very well be the first team in the National League to clinch a playoff spot, like I said, with that win tonight. Now, Clayton Kershaw was supposed to pitch for the Dodgers tonight. He will not pitch. They're kind of giving him a little bit of time, a little bit of rest. So Stephen Fife will get the start tonight, but still, 1 win tonight, and they've locked it up. Pretty impressive, guys.
Very impressive, and Phillies were out there when this run began in Los Angeles. And it really coincided with Puig and his arrival.
Yeah, they got there right after Puig had come up and it started to inspire them to some wins. And what a run they've had.
Swing and a miss. And he gets Stanton on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Rosenberg.
Good job by Rosenberg there to throw those breaking balls to him after that monster home run he hit last time. This is that new breaking ball that he came back with. It's more of a slurve than a hard slider that he had before. He takes a little bit off it, and it's really been effective for him because his fastball is big time.
Ruggiano is now up, and looks like he may have slipped as he threw that.
Yeah, that was a downward plane because, as you said, it looked like he slipped.
He's got it going now.
Well, he threw a real good fastball before that and then breaking ball away. Now he has him set up to do a lot of things. But with Ruggiano, I think you want to go breaking ball again. Or real high fastball out of the zone.
Chad Qualls.
It's a pretty good year for him.
Yeah, he has.
Considering how hard he's gotten hit in some other years. We saw a little bit of it.
Oh, yeah, we did. Ground ball toward third. Ashe charges. Will have to be quick about it, and he is. He's quick about everything at third base. 1-2-3 go the Marlins. Middle of the 8th inning. Dominic Brown will lead it off when we return. Eagles prepare for Andy Reid's return. Get all the news Philly fans need to know on Chevy Malibu Sports Night tonight after postgame live, only on Comcast Sports Night. It's a nice night here in Philadelphia. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. And Mike Dunn continues. Dominic Brown will lead it off. It'll be Brown, Ruff, and Ashe. They also have Chad Qualls in the bullpen. The Marlins do. Yeah, Phillies have Diekman up.
Right, but they go Brown, as you said, Ruff, Ashe. So they go left, right, left, and Bernardina following another lefty. So they're hoping to get through this inning, I guess, with Dunn and hope that Ruff doesn't hurt him.
Marlins play tomorrow. They'll start a 4-game series
in Washington
against the Nationals. Yep.
Yeah, they're headed down to Washington. They're going to bust down tonight.
That will find the seats out of play.
He's all right-handed pitching in this game so far tonight. They have 4 lefties out there.
Dominic flares one out toward left center field. That's going to be in for a base hit. It's going to go to the wall. And he's going to get 2 out of it. He'll stop there. So a leadoff double here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Good job by Dominic Brown because he really drove that thing, and they were in a no doubles too. But I think the center fielder was playing the pull a little bit, Ruggiano. And he does a nice job, takes that thing away from him and hits it that way. So you can see where Ruggiano is. Yeah, he's over a little bit. So he can't cover that gap in left center field, even though they were in no doubles.
Well, here comes Mike Redmond. He's coming out. And it looks like they'll go to Chad Qualls with Darren Ruff 2 up. So there's the signal to the pen. So back to the bullpen we go. Qualls, who pitched last year for the Phils, is going to come in to face Darren Ruff. This is an AT&T call to the bullpen. Phillies and the Marlins tied at 3. A 3-3 game. See Qualls' numbers, his 63rd game. He's been very good for the Marlins. He was not very good for the Phillies last year. That's an understatement. But he seemed to found something in the less pressure situation down in Miami. Well, Wheels, we mentioned some of the catches that we've seen over the course of this season and the lack of catches. Well, that got that guy right in the gut. And then this is a heck of an effort right here by this dude. Bam! This is what I was talking about. Flashback to last week with the Giants and the Rockies. Todd Helton smokes one, and oh!
That's unbelievable. What a catch. That's great. She got the blanket in one hand.
It was just cold in San Francisco.
One hands it. And then a little dance. That's just great.
Hugs for everyone.
That is a great moment in the game right there.
Great moment in her life, I would think.
Think of all the people that have dropped foul balls.
Yeah.
And she catches it with one hand. That's a fan play of the year in Major League Baseball.
I would think so.
He's going to try and hit this ball the right side.
Let's see what he tries to do with Dominic Brown at second. Darren Ruff is up. Game tied at 3.
Walls is a ground ball guy, and he comes inside with him. You've got two guys who've never faced him before now, in both Ruff and Ashe. 92-96 sinker, and he'll throw a slider too. But he lives or dies with that heavy sinker. And this year, Tom said he's done a lot better. You've seen him play him in a pull defense.
And he pulls it. Dominic Brown's going to try to go to third. He's going to get there. Echeverria's throw in time to get Ruff. It just wasn't hit all that hard.
And he read the third baseman going for the ball, Tom. I think he made a good base run and play too. And because when Lucas went back towards the bag, he kind of slapped at his glove like, I shouldn't have broken for this. Watch him break for it. See, he breaks for it, and Brown sees that, and now he knows that he can't get back here in time. That's really good base run by Dominic Brown. I'm going to give him credit that he saw the third baseman move out of position and broke that.
So he's at third. Infield is in. Cody Ashe, the batter. Ashe was robbed by Echeverria his last time up. And he pulls it foul over the Phillies dugout. Skips into the crowd.
One out now in this situation. They'll probably go on contact. Ground ball pitcher in Qualls. Tough to lift him right here. He really would like a sac fly, but it's tough to hit the ball in the air off him when he's on because he throws that heavy sinker. Slider, wasn't it?
It was 0-2.
Didn't throw a whole lot of those.
Diekman and Papelbon. Ashe's come through quite often in these situations where they need contact and they need the ball put in play, and he has been able to do that. He's got Dominic Brown over at third. Gets him on a slider, and there are 2 outs.
Probably went over all those scouting reports with him. You're going to get a lot of sinkers from this guy because that's what he throws, and what's he do? Crosses him up with breaking balls. You see that spinner coming up there, and he just swings right over it.
And now Bernardina.
Get some dunkers off Qualls too, because he'll break bats and you can hit some quails off him. That's what they need now. Maybe another wild pitch.
Yeah.
Or a pass ball.
And a line drive. Oh, what a diving stop by Echeverria. His throw is in time, and he just saved the inning for the Miami Marlins. Echeverria's made 2 unbelievable plays tonight, and that one may have been as good as the one we saw earlier because it saved a run. Phillies thought they may have taken the lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Roger Bernardino smokes this one. Echeverria even stumbled, but as he stumbled, he grabbed the ball on one hop, got to his feet, and he threw a quick runner out rather easily. Chad Qualls loved that play by Echeverria and the reaction from the young Marlins bench. The 22nd, of course, Fan Appreciation Day. Tickets can be purchased 24/7 by going to Phillies.com. Oh, this is a remarkable play.
Well, look where he is playing him, too. He's playing him up the middle. Now the ball goes to the right, little stumble. Quickly pops up and throws his seed to first on a guy like Bernardino who can really run. Those are 2 of the more athletic plays you're ever going to see. What a tremendous shortstop he is defensively.
Well, now Logan Morrison will start it off against Jake Diekman here in the top of the 9th inning. Game tied at 3. And the first pitch is strike, and it's 0-1. Diekman 1-4, an ERA of 2.88. Morrison is the Roberto Clemente nominee for the Miami Marlins. Chase Utley for the Phils. Inside, 1-1.
In their bullpen, they're going to get Cishek up if they take the lead, and Brad Hand, the left-hander, if they don't.
Broken bat. Rollins will have to hurry, and he does. Every time the Phillies retire, the opposition 1-2-3. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports, giving you all your favorite sports all year long. Well, here's Echeverria, who's made those 2 wonderful defensive plays. He's 2 for 3 tonight offensively and has scored a run. Down the right field line, that'll go out of play.
He's made 14 errors, too. The good and the bad.
I would think he gets to more balls than a lot of shortstops. He and Andrelton Simmons.
Right. Incredible athleticism. He's got a really strong arm, too, and accurate.
Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Phillies bottom of the 9th, the pitcher's spot, and then the top of the order.
trying to hit a home run right now.
He figures it's his night.
Yeah. Well, he's hit a home run this park before and cleared them when they were loaded. Grand slam to right center. Well, it's actually to right field. That's Cishek, the submarine baller, right-hander.
He went around. Ruiz drops it. Echeverria starts slowly to first, and there are 2 outs. 4 strikeouts between Diekman and Rosenberg. 6 counting DeFreitas.
Real good delivery there by Jake Diekman. He's really straightened his delivery out, and now he throws that hard slider. Look at this thing spinning. Back footer. Misses it by a foot.
Ground ball toward the hole, and that is going to be stopped by Rollins, and he won't have a play on Mathis. And that'll bring Placido Polanco up. Well, Mathis is going to need a new bat, but he gets a hit out of it.
Yeah. Perfect spot.
So Polanco pinch hits for Chad Qualls. With a nice round of applause for Placido Polanco. Fouls it away. It's 0-1. Top of the order is due up after Polanco. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And he fouls it away again. He may not be able to pull too many pitches anymore, but he does put the bat on the ball.
Well, that's when he tries to use the middle of the field and the opposite field because the only way he's going to pull the ball right now is if you speed his bat up a little bit. But they got to play the line anyway at third and just in case. Throw him it down and then slider.
Ground ball left side, and that'll sneak through.
How about that?
Well, so much for not being able to pull the ball.
Well, and that's a ground ball to third. But you're playing the line on him, and that's where we're kind of figuring about playing the line on a guy that really the odds are he's not going to hit it down the line. But see where you see where Ashley is. See, that's a ground ball to third. But he's guarding the line. Turns into a hit. And that's what happens when you're trying to take that extra base hit away.
Mathis is at second. He does not have good speed. Polanco at first. He does not have good speed. 2 outs in the count, 2 balls and no strikes to Donovan Solano. Out toward right center field, playable for Cesar Hernandez, and we're going to go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Phillies will have a chance to win it. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men left. It's a 3-3 game. Pitcher spot due up when we get back. Bank Park. Here's our W. Mason delivery of the game. We go back to the 6th inning, and this was a delivery. It was a breaking ball from Ethan Martin, and Giancarlo Stanton hit one an estimated 460 feet that bounced toward that guy in the yellow sweatshirt getting something from Planet Hoagie. Second longest home run hit in this ballpark this year. And that's why we're even at 3 as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Jake Diekman did allow a couple base runners in his half of the 9th inning. But he keeps it at a 3-3 game. Now Brad Hand in his 5th ball game here in the big leagues. He'll come on to face a pinch hitter. That's going to be Kevin Franzen. And then the top of the order for the Phils as they try to win it here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Well, Ryne Sandberg has had 11 one-run victories during his brief tenure as the interim manager for the Phils. And he's hoping for number 12 right here on his 54th birthday.
Yeah, nice birthday present.
Ryan Sandberg said something to Cesar Hernandez as he went up to the plate.
Probably if this guy gets on with your bunny.
Kevin has that ankle guard on his left leg, on the inside of his left leg. He is bruised all the way up that leg through his knee. With all the foul balls that he's hit off that leg, he has a compression sleeve on that left leg. It's beaten up. He and I were doing an interview today, and he was showing me the bruise. I don't know how he's even walking.
It's nasty looking.
Fly ball out to center field. And there's one out. Now Cesar Hernandez is coming up. He's been on base 3 times. Jimmy Rollins on deck. Cesar was trying to go yard right there. Hey, it's 0-1. To the right side, and Logan Morrison will flip to hand covering. 2 outs. 2 easy outs.
Yeah, he really fooled him with a change up there. He's had some good swings in there, but you can see when he got way out in front of that and hits him right off the end of the bat.
Well, now Jimmy Rollins, who is 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Phillies scored all 3 runs in the 5th inning.
Really good spot now for Jimmy Rollins. Look for a pitch middle in. Chase waits on deck. See if he can drive one, get an extra base hit out of it, even though there are no doubles in the outfield.
3 balls and 1 strike. And there is ball 4. So he's aboard with 2 outs here in the 9th inning, and that'll leave it for Chase Utley, who is 1 for 4 with a couple RBIs.
This guy's times are really slow, too. 137, 147. They, of course, have all that information, and whether they would think about running here or not, we'll see.
Mathis is decent behind the plate. He's thrown out about 30% of the runners trying to steal. Mike Redmond controlling the running game.
Yeah, which means he may just throw over, knowing his pitcher's a little slow to home plate. Just see if Jimmy Rollins has any movement towards second base, and they'll get a better idea what could be going on.
Chase with 10 RBIs over his last 3 games. It's the best span he's had since 2006. Best 3-game span he's had since 2006. He's recorded an RBI in 5 straight.
That almost looked like a slide step of some kind there. That's a little quicker than those times they have down here.
In the dirt, Mathis keeps it around the area. Rollins going to second, and he is safe.
Great base run.
Mike Redmond's going to come out, and he's going to have a chat with David Rackley.
He got his hand in. See in the replay, there have been some close ones down there tonight, but it really did look like he got his hand in there before he tagged him. We'll see. Gets away not that much. He had to dodge a mask there. He's safe.
Well, he's right on it. He has the view of it.
Can't tell there. Here we go. Yeah.
Does look like his hand's there, yeah.
And the out tags up by the elbow.
Well, now a base hit. The Phils could take a chance.
Right, they just in their dugout. They're moving their outfielders in now, of course.
Yelich is the deepest of the three on the offside and left.
Yeah, and he should be the shallowest. Usually you want to play your guy on the offside.
Yeah, he is the deepest, though.
Yeah, you want to play him the shallowest. Now he's moving in.
1 ball and 1 strike to Utley.
Is that a word, shallowest?
Yeah. There goes Rollins. The pitch is taken low. The throw to third, not in time. Stole base number 21. So now Rollins 90 feet away.
It's a great time to go, too, if you have to make it, obviously. Jimmy got a running jump there, and this one's pretty easy that he steals it, just so he doesn't overslide the bag. Here he goes. Broke back a little bit, and then he's gone. Because this puts more pressure on Mathis now to call that breaking ball in the dirt.
Yeah, Mathis was saying something about something Utley did at the plate, whether he thought he swung at the ball, whether he thought he interfered. Two balls, 1 strike. They go fastball away for Chase. And a ground ball right side. Solano gobbles it up, and they get Utley on the side. He's retired. So the Phillies get the winning run over at third, but cannot score. That means it's time for some extra innings here at Citizens Bank Park in a 3-3 game. And the Miami Marlins, the final game of this 3-game series. It's all coming up on Pure Auto Insurance. Presents Phillies Post-Game Live. Top of the 10th inning, Cesar Jimenez is going to be the new pitcher for the Phils. Phillies have basically been using the bullpen tonight because of the injury to Kyle Kendrick. And because of that, Zach Miner started. He went the first 3, did not allow a run. Then Luis Garcia allowed 1. Ethan Martin allowed 2.
Yeah, they thought they were in real good shape as you look at the extra inning records for these teams. Phillies at 6-6. They thought they were in real good shape pitching-wise tonight. But, of course, you have to go to extra innings, and that can throw a little bit of a snafu.
Jimenez is going to face Ed Lucas to start it off. It'll be Lucas, Yelich, and Giancarlo Stanton here at the top of the 10th.
Seems like they haven't played an extra inning game for a while. They haven't. The last one? How about that 18-inning baby?
All right, against the Diamondbacks.
On August 25th.
Yeah, they wound up losing that one.
12-7 in a snappy 7 hours and 6 minutes.
Angel Hernandez went from one dugout to the other and was saying something. I'm not sure what.
Well, you only played 10, right?
Kind of did look like a spring training game where he said that.
We're a few months away from that rule. Unwritten rule, excuse me.
Lucas is 1 for 4 tonight. Swings at the first pitch. It's 0-1. He went around. It's 0-2. Seeing a lot of that tonight.
Yeah, a lot of check swinging on both sides.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Did look like it was right there. In the air to left field. That's well hit. Dominic Brown's going back, and the Marlins have the lead. Ed Lucas just launched his 4th home run of the year to lead off the 10th inning. And it's a 4-3 ball game.
That was a hanging slider. Here it is. See the grip? There's the spinner. As Sarge likes to say, look for the dot. And you could see the dot, and they could see it coming at them out there. That was deep into the seats.
Well, for Lucas, his 2nd hit of the night, his 6th hit in this series. So the Marlins have the lead, and Yelich is up. It's 1 ball and no strikes to Christian Yelich. Been nearly a month since Lucas's last home run. Rollins throws Yelich out, 1 away. And that'll bring Giancarlo Stanton to the plate. Stanton homered back in the 6th that tied the game at 3. His home run we mentioned before, when an estimated 460 feet.
Headed for another planet, like Planet Hoagie. That was
great.
A long one.
It's great, though. The guy that was standing in line just sat there and took the ball on a bounce.
The guy looked like he was really tall. He just reached up
tall.
and grabbed it.
That was his area, though, Wheels. I didn't know how tall he needed to be, but he was in the right place.
Just reached up. Saying would or would out, but he didn't mean it with a baseball. That was some play. There he is. That's the guy.
That's the guy. Ground ball softly hit. 2 outs.
Where'd you get your home run ball? I was about 460 feet away.
He wasn't where he's sitting right now.
Here it is. Bounce.
Oh, he's waiting. He's got it sized up.
He sees it coming. Whoop. Reaches up. I got it. It was either that or it was going to be on the grill.
And then the high five.
Great job. Yeah, we're talking about you.
Justin Ruggiano is now coming up. Ruggiano takes on the outside corner. It's 0-1.
Now they're going to have to deal with Cishek. We mentioned he's been really good for them. Good sinker ball pitcher.
And Ruggiano is hit in the arm with that pitch.
And then it hit Carlos Ruiz. That's what happens with catchers a lot of times. They get nailed on those deflections after a batter gets hit. Watch what happens to him. They're really unprotected for this. Hits him, and then he gets it on the elbow and the thigh. Two unprotected areas. Like it's not tough enough back there.
Ruggiano didn't do a whole lot to get out of the way of that ball.
No.
I thought Angel Hernandez might intercede. Runner goes. Pitch is taken for a strike. The throw to second is not in time. I don't know if Jimmy ever tagged him. And it's 0-1.
Nice job by Ruggiano. Got a good jump there, trying to get in position for an extra run for them. Carlos makes a really good strong throw. He comes out nice and low.
It looked like he might have got him on the back spike.
It did look like he got him on the foot. Now I was watching that and see whether he got to the bag with the other one.
Thought he was just a hair late getting to the bag. Check swing and no.
Does tag him on the back foot.
Right there, I think.
So close. That's just so close.
Darren Ruff over at first base. He's had a clean night tonight. Side is retired. However, the Marlins take the lead on a solo home run by Ed Lucas. Phillies, as we go to the bottom of the 10th inning, will send Carlos Ruiz to start things off. Is into his 64th game. He's only blown 2 saves this year. You know, there was a point where they were debating on whether he would be the closer when the Phillies were down in Miami earlier this year. He hit some rough spots, but rough spots no more. Wheels 2.54 ERA in the open market. he'd make a lot of money.
Yeah.
At the trade deadline, the Marlins thought they could get something for him too, but they wound up hanging on.
He's had a really good run lately. He's always had a very good sinking fastball. In fact, they have him right now 90 to 94 sinker. Right-handed hitters hitting 200 off him. Left-handed hitters 225.
He'll face Carlos Ruiz, Dominic Brown, and Darren Rupp.
So we still have, Tom, have Mayberry, Rupp, and Galvis still left on their bench if they need to make a move in this inning.
Got to get that leadoff batter aboard to get the tying run on. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Off the plate, Lucas comes in and he can't handle it, and Ruiz is aboard. He probably had more time than he thought.
That's the problem right there for him, is he had all kinds of time.
E5 is what they scored.
That's one of those things you have to know who the runner is, and it's Carlos Ruiz doesn't run that well. And he has time to just make the play on that and throw him out comfortably. So the Phillies get a big break here. Here it is. It takes a hop, and it has a lot of spin, obviously, but still, it's right off the heel of the glove, and it just spins right out of it.
Well, now Dominic Brown. Sarge was saying before that he thought that he was due. Breaking ball, that's in for a strike.
We have a big hole to right side, and Stanton, even as well as he throws, is so deep because they're playing no doubles out there.
Outside, 1-2. Ball foul, and it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. See Cishek out on that mound. He has that glove that looks almost brand new, and it's got the name Manuel Dominguez on that glove. Domingos on that glove. That is the name of his maternal grandfather, passed away in 2003. Breaking ball. It's 2-2. Said some folks saw it and wondered why he was wearing somebody else's glove, because every player can have the choice of putting their name on their glove if they choose to. I know I saw it the other day and I wondered the same thing.
Yeah, you would.
3-2 to Dominic Brown. These are some tough pitches he's letting go by.
A lot of sliders. I think he threw sinkers to him trying to get a ground ball. Those sliders are things you could pull too with that big hole to the right side.
Dominic trying to bear down here in the bottom of the 10th. Phillies trail it by 1. And a breaking ball ripped it to right field, a base hit. That'll get Chooch over to third. Stanton gets to it quickly. Brown going to second, so the winning run is at second while the tying run is at third with nobody out.
Good sign for Dominic Brown. He's hit 2 balls really hard, 1 to left center, and now this one down the line after working the count full. Throwing him stuff inside. Well, tempting him to pull. Here comes another one. That's another slider. You can see.
Boy, it was up too.
There's Sarge's dot right there that you can really see on the in slow-mo. It'd be nice if the hitter could see that dot quite that clearly.
That's 20 doubles, 21 doubles on the year now for Dominic Brown.
He kept throwing him slider after slider. They're playing it back. They'll give you the tie and run right here.
Darren Ruff takes a slider for a strike. Darren tonight is 0 for 4.
The ideal thing to do if you make it out here is to hit it to the right side, get one in, get the other one over.
0-1 time is called. Arms in the outfield just to lay it out there. Yelich does not have an assist, but he has a good arm. Ruggiano has 2 outfield assists. And Giancarlo Stanton, well, what we saw last night is self-explanatory. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2.
Just has to guard away against this guy because that's what he's going to try to do to him. They'll just sell out. How about that?
It's been a long time.
Well, maybe this could be his anniversary.
His anniversary on Ryan Sandberg's birthday.
Yeah.
The 0-2 pitch. Outside. He lays off this time. 1-2.
You know, if he gets him out in, he gets him out in. But if you're Rough, you have to sell out away right now.
The 1-2. Up high, 2-2. Try to fastball. Waiting for the 2-2 is Ruff. And he reaches out and he pops it into shallow right field. Stanton is there. And there's one away. And Ruiz will go back to third. And here comes Cody Ashe. Again, a ground ball will at least tie this game, particularly to the middle of the diamond. Perry Hill waves the infielders back.
Yeah, they're still going to do the same thing.
Because the thought is a drawn in infield will make it easier for a hit to leak through and maybe win the game.
Yeah, and they're not going to let Ashe beat them.
So it'll be Roger Bernardina as they'll load up the bases. Bernardina's not an easy guy to double up because he does run well.
Right, that's why I think you could have seen him come in halfway. Bernardina hit that bullet the last time up that would have given the Phillies the lead at the time in the 8th inning, and Taveria made an unbelievable play at shortstop. See if they come in halfway now. And that way they give themselves the option to come home with a slow hit ball. And they're going to talk about it. They're going to bring all the infielders in to talk about it. I think that's what they would do.
Yeah, Mathis looks like he and Morrison are taking charge of the conversation. It's kind of interesting. Mike Redmond's letting them just decide what they want to do or what they're going to do.
Yeah, they probably gave the sign from the dugout, you know, the halfway or whatever they wanted to do with the infield, and then let the veterans take over. Well, they're pretty deep on the pull side.
Here they are. Outfielders are somewhat shallow. Bernardina takes a sweeping slider for a strike. It's 0-1. Bernardina on the year has 39 hits. Let's see what his average is. That's between the Phillies and the Nationals. He has a hit tonight. Oh, 1 strike.
Freddie Galvis is out there, the 9-hole next, the pitcher spot. So a lot of guys in that 9-hole tonight.
He got a pitch he could hit, and he fouled it off. It's 1-2. Phillies have left 9 tonight, and they've got the bases loaded here in the 10th. Now the 1-2 pitch from Cishek. Breaking ball, hit foul. Lucas will give it a try, but it's out of play. Nice job. Looked like that youngster's dad was going over to try to make the catch, and it popped out of somebody's hands and right into his hands.
A little flinch. Gave a little flinch, but he was stepping. Yeah, he was stepping back at the time, though. Carlos Ruiz gave a little jump off third. Hey, whatever way you can get him home.
Phillies have gotten a run home tonight on a wild pitch, or pass ball, I should say. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bernardino. And a check swing. Did he go? No.
Well, you hold your breath on those.
Oh, sure do.
He did not swing at that, but you never know. Hey, right here, he holds. Absolutely. Good call.
Now the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. 2 outs. And now it's up to Freddie Galvis here in the bottom of the 10th inning. A pinch hitter.
It's Freddie Galvis on Freddie Garcia with a hanging splitter. Hit it out of the ballpark. He's had a couple of walk-off homers this year.
Yeah, one against the Reds, one against the Braves. That finished off a sweep of the Braves. He looked like a little kid running into that pile.
Well, he gets a hit here. He could do it again.
Yeah, the pile, though, would be around second, be able to shoot first and second base.
Yeah, it'd be out in the middle of the diamond somewhere.
So Freddie pitch hitting here for Cesar Jimenez in the bottom of the 10th inning with the bases loaded. And the pitch from Cishek is outside 1-0.
We've had a lot of games like this year, unfortunately, where they get these runners into scoring position late and don't get them in. And now they're going to have to get a hit to do it.
Heard these chants for the first time last year. Galvis fouls off a slider. One ball, 1 strike. Ground ball towards shortstop. This should do it. Echeverria goes the short way, and the Marlins have taken Game 3 of the series by a 4-3 final in 10 innings. Well, the Phillies certainly threatened. They had the tying run at third with nobody out, the winning run at second with nobody out. The bases loaded with 1 out, but could not push a run across the plate. So they take 2 of 3 for the Marlins, but they lose tonight 4-3 to Miami. Ed Lucas is our Chevrolet player of the game. His game-winning home run, or his home run at the top of the 10th inning, turned out to be the game winner. It was his 4th of the year. He finished with 2 hits in the game. And he's a big reason why the Marlins have won tonight over the Phils. He and Echeverria over at shortstop. We'll take a break and be back to wrap things up right after this.